In the heart of Howard Community College, the spirit of Black history thrives, echoing through the halls and the classrooms. The Black experience in higher education is a tapestry woven with resilience, triumph, and an enduring legacy that continues to inspire. The history of Black education is not only a testament to determination, but to perseverance.
We started off the conversation talking about Dr. Carter G. Woodson. There's many quotes and things that he's known for in his writings and in his teachings, but he said there's two educations. One education that is given to you and one that you give yourself.
From the early days of slavery, when learning to read and write was a revolutionary act, to the establishment of historically Black colleges and universities in the 19th century, Black Americans have fought tirelessly for educational opportunities. W.E.B. Du Bois, a pioneering Black sociologist, once said, "Education must not simply teach work, it must teach life." This quote encapsulates the transformative power of education within the Black community. Here in Howard County, trailblazers like Silas Craft, who have dedicated his life to mentoring and uplifting young Black students, and even Benjamin Banneker, a self-taught mathematician and astronomer whose legacy is immortalized in the streets around our campus, remind us of the rich heritage we carry forward. Their contributions have paved the way for countless others, inspiring generations to strive for excellence and equity. Together, we delve into the essence, not just as a celebration, but as a continuous journey that shapes our present and our future. We explore how the principles of Black history can be carried forward, ensuring that the impact of Black education continues to grow and thrive. I am Matthew Jackson, and you are now listening to Campus Drive. Hello and welcome to Campus Drive, your one-way street to all things HCC. I'm your host, Matt Jackson, manager of Dragon Podcast here at Dragon Media. We have another special episode for you guys today as we journey through campus highlighting all the new initiatives, dynamic programs, and special guests here at Howard Community College. I have two esteemed guests from Dragon Country here with me today. First, we have Madison Otto, a student leader and acting president of the Black Student Union. She will share her story and give us insight into the important role BSU plays in our campus community, as well as some of the upcoming events they're having this month. Second, we have Marcus Nix, an educator and assistant director of our beloved Silas Craft Collegians Program. Marcus is dedicated to providing our students with the framework for success and the leadership to continue a rich legacy of excellence. Stay tuned for an exciting episode, and thank you for listening to Campus Drive. My first guest is Madison Otto, Silas Craft Collegian and president of the Black Student Union here on campus. I was curious to ask her about what a typical day was like as a student here at HCC. Welcome, Madison, to Campus Drive.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm really excited to have you here. It's Black History Month, and I just wanted to start off and get a gist of what your typical day as a student is here at Howard Community College.
So for me, typically I have about 1 to 2 classes a day. I'm not the best at waking up early, so I've kind of scheduled classes not any time before 11 because that's just what helps me. So I can have my time in the morning and then I can come here and do my classes. I also do work, not full-time, but a good amount of time during the week. I'm a supervisor, so that does take up, a good amount of time. But yeah, I normally come here from about 11 to 4. I typically stay in academic commons area and in the Silas Craft suite. And then after around 4, I'll go to work and then continue on with my day.
Black Student Unions, or BSUs, have been a vital part of the college experience for Black students since the 1960s. The first BSU was established at San Francisco State University in 1966. During a time of significant social and political change. These organizations emerged from the Black campus movement, which sought to combat racial discrimination and advocate for greater inclusivity in higher education. I want to know what inspired you to run for president of the Black Student Union. Black Student Unions are very impactful on campuses and universities around the country, have been at the forefront for leading initiatives and just overall maintaining a safe space on campuses for Black students and making sure that our voices are heard. Why did you run, and what were some of the key initiatives that led you to make that decision?
Personally, the reason why I wanted to run, most of our previous officers had graduated, and it was looking like the club might have been in jeopardy of like kind of fizzling out or not having as much engagement. But in my time here at HCC, when I first came here, we had the African Caribbean Society Club. That was the original club that I had joined, and like over time it had evolved just so that it can be inclusive of everybody in the diaspora. So I followed it through all the changes. I enjoyed all the events that I went to. It was just a really good time because I feel like here at HCC, a lot of people just come and go. They don't actually spend the time to build community here on campus. So I was like, you know what? I really want to take the time to get to know people, meet people, and through that, I just really enjoyed it. And I was like, I want to keep this going for, future people to come. So yeah, when our last president had graduated, I said, you know what, I want to take it upon myself to run and to become president to keep this going. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fire. And I saw you guys, we just had the recent Dragon Connection Fair for the spring. How's that experience when you get to see all the students and you guys have your board up there and they come and, you have those elevator conversations about like what we do, this is what we stand for, and this is where we're going?
I really like Dragon Connection Fair. My background is in retail, so I'm kind of used to talking to people and like kind of being like, hey, I see you over there, like, come see what I'm about. So it was a really good opportunity just to meet new people. I definitely think that a lot of people don't know necessarily, or they don't know what we have going on campus, or like they don't know that there's other programs and things outside of just like going to class, whatever student government does. So I think it was a really good opportunity just to kind of like say, hey, this is what we do, this is what we're about. I would really love for you to come. Got down a lot of people's information just to kind of let them know how to follow up and get the information and see our meeting times. But yeah, definitely, it was a good experience.
Yeah, it's always a good touch point to have those fairs because students really just won't know until they see you post it up, and then you gain that awareness, you get them newsletter, and then you might see some new faces at the next meeting, and so that turnover rate is always good. And it's funny enough, when I first started my position here as manager, I ran into you guys at the Fall Connection Fair, and
Yes.
That's when you guys were first talking about what you were doing, and it made me excited to see how things would progress, and so I'm glad that things are still going well, and I think that they're lucky to have you. Okay, so now that we know this is a thing here and that at the community college level, we do have programs here that can allow the Black community to find community, what are some of the challenges you faced as a Black student leader here, or just feeling and navigating through the space here at HCC?
Well, initially coming into HCC, I wasn't a strong student academically, so I kind of carried a lot of the attitudes and stuff that I had from high school into like coming to HCC. My first couple of semesters, I really didn't do well. And it wasn't that I didn't care, it was more so outside factors and different things that I didn't have to set me up for success weren't in place, and it kind of just came off as like, oh, I don't care, or, But through like those challenges and different things that I had, but I realized that it was important to advocate for myself. And even through advocating with yourself, it's also good to have people behind you. And I really am grateful for the Silas Craft team because that was the team that was behind me that helped me through the academic challenges. And even though, like I said, I advocate for myself, it's also good to have people that can encourage you mentally, academically, and just help you along the process. Because even though I'm really big on community, so even though, we are strong and we can do things independently, it's good to have a community around you to support you.
Yeah, I think that's very inspiring to know that Silas Craft was able to help you overcome some of those challenges. Many students often try to navigate college and just some of those, like you said, some of those external challenges by themselves, but sometimes joining with others who have like-minded goals, similar struggles, like finding that middle circle of the Venn diagram for people who are looking to do better things, do cool things, new initiatives. I think that can often help your trajectory and kind of help you lock in. Like every student's different, and so being able to figure it out and having a space and a place that will make sure that they give you that positive reinforcement is very key and critical to a student's development. Just knowing that now that you've been able to turn that corner, you found some community, hanging out in the Silas Craft Lounge. I got to go visit, and it felt good in there, and knowing that there's that love and there's a place where you can go and like recharge the battery on a daily basis while you're going through whatever the campus or the world throws at you is very important. How has being a part of the Black Student Union enriched your college experience, and what impact do you think it will have on like the broader student community?
I know some students, when they hear like Black Student Union, they can get a little bit intimidated because they think it's solely for Black people, but just to put that out there, we are open to everyone. Anyone can come. I always tell people, bring your friends. I don't care what they look like, how they are. Just bring your friends. Show them, what's on campus. But I think definitely with the Black Student Union, we've more so focused on just creating a safe space for Black kids on campus. Because even though I know in academic commons there's a lot of groups and there's a lot of like people congregating, but this time gives us the time that we like implement for Black Student Union just gives us the time to actually get to know people. Definitely, I know we're working on getting some more engagement and getting more people to come, but I really have been focusing on the quality and not the quantity because we're very much about peace. Like we don't do drama. We very much have good times, get to know each other. We're a tight-knit kind of group, and I feel like people really look forward to coming. It's a great opportunity to just kind of unwind after, a long day. It's on Thursday. Most people don't come on Fridays, so it's kind of like our Friday little event. I think people look forward to it. I look forward to it at least, so yeah.
I think students need that. Like after a long week of assignments and athletes for practice and different things like that, I know that having just a weekly meeting that you can look forward to, conversation that you can feel seen. Like I think that feeling seen is a very important thing. Definitely. While you're in your like college years, and you want to know that it's not just me out here. And so to have that as a resource is going to make sure that not only are things moving forward, but it also holds a lot of us accountable. And I remember when I was in undergrad, we would have our NAACP meetings, and we would do all our reading, and we would look at what was happening on the news and check Twitter. But then we would go in there, everybody would have like a full list of like, all right, what y'all think about this? And we'd play some games, and it kind of would make all of those issues and those ideas feel a lot more manageable. And I think that by you guys continuing to have that is only going to make things better. It's only going to produce more solutions and results and upward mobility for the community that takes advantage. And it's not just for Black students, it's for everybody.
Yes.
Looking ahead, now that you guys have been able to get that foundation and continue to build the campus in the way that you see fit, what are some of your like personal goals as a student leader, and what are some of the changes or improvements you want to see from the Black community, or just how the school navigates with the Black community here at HCC?
I mean, I just want to see the Black community being heard in a sense. Mm-hmm. And I know that we do have like an administration that is mostly Black, but I still feel like there needs to be some type of cultural training, how to deal with, something of that like aspect to kind of get professors and people on campus to kind of check their biases and to be able to support their students of color and their Black students in particular in a way that is successful. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think that's as much as it's on the plate for HCC. I think that's something that campuses around the country are all facing. And,
Definitely.
And I know just from my experience, as we talk about the Black college experience, we definitely had to have those conversations. I think that you guys will only continue to get more opportunities to share that insight, and I think that it's really imperative that the rest of the campus and other organizations, that's another thing I was going to say, or what do you think about like collaborating with other organizations? Do you think that that would be one of the means to kind of getting the word out there and kind of spreading more visibility and awareness?
You mean like on campus?
Yeah, like on campus or campus, community, sports, what have you.
Yeah, I'm definitely open. I feel like that's one of the things that we're doing this semester with doing different events with Howard Pride. We're doing a mental health forum with the Links Incorporated as well, which is going to be on March 20th. So if anybody wants to come, yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely I feel like with getting outside partners and different things, it just helps us build our outreach, connect with others, and just network as well. Because you never know, like somebody in one of those outside fields could help us with, something personally, could, put us on with jobs or different other opportunities that's out there, but you never know until you actually put yourself out there and see what's in the community. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. And I was going to ask about any upcoming events or initiatives. But I guess I also want to ask, if you're a student here at HCC, how do they get in contact with you guys? What's the easiest way to get in touch and to get involved?
So what we do is we post through campus groups. So if you go to campus groups and you sign up for Black Student Union through your HCC email, you'll get emails every week letting you know what events we have going on, just updates, different things. So through campus groups and HCC email, you will get all the updates so that you will be up to date with what we got going on.
And the meetings are typically Thursdays at what time?
Thursdays, 4:30 to 6 in Academic Commons, room 209.
Okay, cool. I'm really excited that we were able to speak with you. I think this will be a great resource, and I hope that this will be instrumental in getting more students out and just getting more people to spread the word about what you guys have going on. I'm excited to go to some of the events and just catch the vibes. Is there anything else you want to share or anything else you're excited about for Black History Month before we get out of here?
Well, happy Black History Month, first of all. Definitely, I would love to invite everybody who's hearing this podcast out to our events. I know we are doing a fashion show as well. That's something to look forward to. That's going to be April 24th. So, like I said, through campus groups, if you sign up for the emails, I'll be sending out different things regarding that. So if you want to get involved, please let me know. If you see me around campus, say hey. I'm not a mean person.
Right.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to what we have going on for the rest of this spring semester. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Campus Drive on Dragon Podcast. Welcome back to Campus Drive. My next guest is Marcus Nix, Assistant Director of the Silas Craft Collegians Program and HBCU graduate. I wanted to get started with a few questions. Welcome to Campus Drive.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Let's start by discussing the significance of Black History Month and its impact on the Black community, especially in context of community colleges.
Well, first and foremost, I definitely want to pay homage to Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who's been deemed the father of Black History Month. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, in 1926, under the auspices of his organization, ASALA, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, and at the time, it was referred to as the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. He helped institute Negro History Week in 1926, which would eventually evolve into Black History Month. And so Black history has been something that has been transformative, not solely for Black folk, but for all people. But what it was that Dr. Carter G. Woodson was trying to do was legitimize the study, the rigorous study and research of African American contributions, advancements, and achievements, not just in the United States, but the world over. And what he also attempted to do was popularize it. And so he was a scholar, he was a professor, he was a teacher, he was an institution builder. A lot of the work that he instituted was in Washington, D.C. And this is actually a great book right here from Pero Dakbovi here, Carter G. Woodson in Washington, D.C., that really speaks about the work that he helped institute. But what he wanted to do was, once again, just make sure that African American achievements were not pushed to the margins, they were not dehumanized, but with other races, the achievements and accomplishments of African Americans were acknowledged and recognized, and he devoted his life to doing that.
Community colleges have historically been a crucial access point for higher education for Black students. Can you share some insights into the Black experience here at community colleges?
Sure. And I'm proud to say that I am a product of a community college. I attended a community college in Panama City, Florida. At the time, it was called Gulf Coast Community College, played ball there. Yeah. But nevertheless, I think that a community college is paramount when you think about how they tend to be smaller than four-year institutions and four-year colleges and universities. You get that intimacy. You get that connection, student-centeredness, especially when you talk about the professor and the student. That's central, because when it comes to education, I believe the foundation is having a strong relationship. If the relationship is not there, that's going to impact everything else. Also, affordability and cost. Many students, you don't always realize, and parents don't always realize, that going through a community college can enable you to still get high quality education, but can enable you to also perhaps keep a few dollars in your pocket and save as you embark upon the next level. And then I would also say community centeredness. And when you talk about the Black experience historically up till present, especially when you talk about Black education, it's always been community centered. So when you talk about in the United States how education for African Americans was criminalized, and you talk about there have been anti-literacy laws on the books that kept African Americans from being able to read and write and do all those things, institutions such as HBCUs or even going into community colleges, whatever it was where Black folks gathered for the focus of teaching and learning, it was always a community project. And so, it wasn't far-fetched to have some of the elders and some of the adults with the students, with the young folk. And it's funny because here, even at HCC, my own mother is even a student here at the college. So that spirit of community, especially with the African American tradition, has always been at the heart of what the Black community has been trying to wield.
That's beautiful to hear, too, that this resource of education can be multi-generational.
Absolutely.
And that's the other thing with community colleges, the classes and the different courses, all the students aren't 18 to 21.
Absolutely.
It offers a new variety of students who are at a different part of their life that allows them to also take advantage of this knowledge and these resources that we have here on a local level. You have apprenticeships, you have people who are working part-time, full-time, and
Absolutely.
Still going to school. So the dynamic of student also enrich the experience that we have collectively when you're taking these courses.
Absolutely. And I would even further say that when we talk about education, it's not just solely textbooks and PowerPoints and those types of dynamics, but one of the things that I love to do with my students, and one of the things that we even have going with our program, Silas Craft Collegians, is a capstone project. So when you talk about our elders and those that have gone before us, that oral history and the storytelling tradition and hearing what those who I would deem living history pioneers, well, what have they experienced? What have they gone through? And sitting at the feet of those elders and hearing those stories is important. And so all of those things are things that are a part of that educational experience. And I like to look at it as a holistic endeavor. And so, it's not only about academics, but when you look at the scope of Black education, what it's always been was academics, sure, but what are you doing for the community? You know, how are you giving back? You know, how are you in service to others? The emotional, the psychological, the spiritual even. So just approaching it from a holistic perspective and not a narrow, one-dimensional point of view.
Yeah, that this experience extends beyond the classroom.
It has to. It has to.
So working with the Silas Craft Collegian Program, what are some of the key issues or challenges that you see that the Black students here face?
Well, I would say that our program, Silas Craft Collegians, and shout out to Angela Phillips, who's the director of our program, and shout out to Dion Tillman, the coordinator. We work together to make sure that students feel validated, students are acknowledged. We hold a lot of space for students. We mentor students. We advise students, give students guidance, a lot of coaching. And so we work on students and work with students with whatever it is that they need support in. And students come to us in our program with different backgrounds, different set of circumstances, but through and through, we're student-centered, we're relationship-centered. And so in this day and age especially, we don't take it lightly, the fact that we have to be there to support students. So you can see us at basketball games cheering our students on. You know, we're in the halls with students. You know, I enjoy having lunch in the cafeteria with students. I'm also proud to say that I live in the Howard County community. So I all the time see students at the store. I might run into them at the mall. So that relationship piece is very important. But with our program, Silas Craft Collegians, we have a seminar, which is 2 hours every Wednesday. We have mentoring and coaching sessions, which are mandatory for our students. We have study hall, and we connect them to academic support and resources. We take trips, and we do bonding and team building exercises. We also get involved in community causes, whether it's the food pantry initiative here on campus, or whether it's mental health, or whether it is mass incarceration, and delving into that, seeing how we can give back, or whether it's the community garden. So once again, what's even interwoven in the fabric of what we do with Silas Craft Collegians is very community-centered and community-driven.
Silas E. Craft was a pioneering educator in Howard County, Maryland. As the first principal of Harriet Tubman High School from 1949 to 1956, he championed education for Black students and played a key role in revitalizing the local NAACP. Craft once said, "Education is the key to unlocking the golden door of freedom." His legacy continues through the Silas Craft Collegians Program here at Howard Community College, which supports and mentors young Black students, helping them achieve their full potential. I know we talked a little bit about Silas Craft, but how does this program continue to highlight his legacy and contribute to uplifting Black history?
Well, it keeps his legacy alive by, first and foremost, having the namesake represent not just his legacy, but also the legacy of his beloved wife, Dorothy Craft. What I have here, if you could see it, is an old school attendance sheet from 1912. And this is the historian in me by trade. And so I have this because what that sheet speaks to is not that long ago, when you look at time in fullness, African-American students, in order to get educated, they had to go to Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, PG County, and other counties because there weren't many formal educational opportunities in Howard County. There were no buses. Students oftentimes were walking barefoot miles and miles on the gravel road to finally be able to get educated. The teachers, the Black teachers who did try to teach at those colored schools did not get equitable pay. And in fact, Black schools in Howard County during the time of segregation, those colored schools, they weren't even in school the same amount of months as white schools. So you're talking about historic inequities from an educational standpoint. So here comes Silas Craft, who was not a native Howard County, and he comes and migrates here from West Virginia, and he brings Black educators and teachers with him. He first is at Cooksville High School or Cooksville Color School in Western Howard County, and then he's the principal of Harriet Tubman Junior Senior High School. And as he's the principal in 1949, as that's whenever Harriet Tubman opens its doors, and it goes all the way to 1965 whenever Howard County Public Schools integrated, he is the largest champion for Black education. In fact, the school that black students and parents and families were able to obtain, much of it came from his activism. Much of it came from him being an organizer. He was in the NAACP. He advocated for teachers to have equitable salaries. He made sure that they had busing and transportation. He would knock on doors and rally the community. He would organize the parents. He devoted all of his energy to making sure that black children and black students were on a level playing field when it came to education. And so there's so many things to say about him, but he was a leader in the community. And I'm honored to say that my family knew his family personally. We attended the same church, First Baptist Church of Guilford, which is one of the historic black churches in Howard County. Mm-hmm. And so when you talk about a model of being in the community, rallying and organizing the community, activism in the community, Silas Craft is a great model to look at. And I also believe that when you talk about local history, a lot of the stuff that he did was on the ground right around Howard Community College. Yeah. It resonates with students because you don't have to point out other places, not that that's an issue, but when you look about how Dr. Craft did his work right down the street, Harriet Tubman Junior Senior High School, and other places nearby locally, it seems to resonate a little bit more. Yeah. So shout out to him and his legacy and his family.
Yeah, and it brings it off the page. I know growing up learning about Black history, many of the leaders, while they are prominent, they weren't in your backyard. You know, you would have to look to Birmingham. You're looking to major cities, but to know that you have someone who's from your neighborhood, someone who walked on the same ground that you're walking today, still achieved these amazing feats and still champion these common issues that your ancestors faced, your elders dealt with, and came up triumphant. And his legacy still lives on today, and that we're able to continue to champion it in real time. I know I talked with Madison as well about the Harriet Tubman Cultural Center, and I know and they do their internship. And so just knowing that that's a available slot for impact that they can go out and make and have that hands-on experience is great. You recently hosted an event on campus about Black history in Howard County. Can you tell us more about your work in making sure that that history continues to be told?
Sure. So shout out to Mr. Dion Tillman and our third-year students in our Silas Craft Collegians Program, because we have a capstone project where students are actively right now as we speak playing a part in learning that local history and playing a part to contribute to preserving that history, which is very important, which is very critical. What I spoke about recently for an event we had on campus, Howard County has Black History Too, was just like you said. It's easy to point out Birmingham or Chicago or Harlem or Tulsa or Texas, and there's history everywhere. But in Howard County, there was a civil rights movement. In Howard County, as we spoke about earlier, there was a struggle for Black education. In Howard County, there was political activism and many other things. And so some of the things that we talked about was just how history is always speaking to us. You know, you look at the names of roads and street signs and names of schools, all those types of things, there's a rich history there. But when it comes to Harriet Tubman Cultural Center, anybody who wants to go in that space, there's an exhibit there which highlights not just Howard County history, but it gives you a taste of Maryland history. And it has Howard County history there, takes you through early Howard County history. There's plantation history there, because that's a part of the history as well too. And it takes you on through time of Jim Crow segregation, on through integration, some African American first or trailblazers or living history pioneers who blazed the trail. It also gives you those historic Black communities and those settlements and enclaves sprinkled throughout Howard County, those who were political organizers and many things. It's there at Harriet Tubman. And the school itself is a historic site. And one of the things that's inspiring to me is the resilience of the Black community. I'll give you an example. Whenever Harriet Tubman Junior Senior High School was established when Dr. Craft was the principal, though they fought tooth and nail and toiled to get that school, the board still wouldn't allow the name to go on the front of the building. And so we talk about Harriet Tubman, a pioneer of excellence, a Maryland native.
Yeah, top 5 Hall of Fame, first ballot.
Oh, man.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. And her legacy, we're going to soon be in Women's History Month, but she did so many selfless deeds, and the community wanted her name to be put on the front, but it did not happen. So it's a reminder of what can be done with community and coming together, but it's also a reminder of just the work that still must continue, that still has to happen. And so it's a lot that we can tease out from some of those stories.
How do you see organizations like BSU and Silas Craft contributing to the success and well-being of the student body here at HCC?
When I think about BSUs, and we talked about Dr. Carter G. Woodson and the legacy of Black education. And so even when it came to Black History Month being recognized across the country to where we are today, shout out to those BSU students at Kent State who organized and who were so uplifted and inspired by the legacy of Dr. Carter G. Woodson that even after he passed away, they were inspired so much that they came together to try to make sure that they honored his legacy and what he stood for in terms of Black achievement, Black advancement, and Black accomplishments. And so education is not just about academics, as we talked about, but education is something that, as we tell our students, it should be something that we can utilize to be able to transform the human condition. How can we take what we're learning and impact our community? How can we be in service to others? And so I'm so proud of Madison for being a leader, stepping up to the plate and taking the mantle to the next level, because BSUs, they've always been not just educational spaces, but spaces where dialogue and exchanges and intellectual ideas and coming together could take place to reflect and think about how to make a difference in community. And that is important and not anything to take lightly.
What advice would you give to any students that want to get involved, and what are some touch points that they can connect with what you guys have going on?
Sure. Well, students who want to get involved with Silas Craft Collegians, they can apply. Our application is definitely live now. And so in order to apply, you go online and you can fill out the application. And we have forms online that you can fill out, 2 letters recommendation and transcript and those things like that. You could also email us at silascraftcollegians@howardcc.edu, and we'll follow up with you and answer whatever questions that you may have. Students, it's not hard to see us. Our students, wear their maroon and gold hoodies and, our suite, Howard Hall. As you saw, students are in and out. The vibe is always good.
Yeah, we
energy.
talked about that too. Yeah, you can feel the love when you open the door.
Absolutely. We work together as, like I said, a family, and we have a lot of initiatives that we have done and that we will continue to do. And when you walk in the suite, you can even see the pictures and the images throughout the years of the program and its excellence. And here we are in 2025, which marks the 25-year anniversary milestone of the program's inception. So also shout out to the longevity of the program. So we don't know what the future holds, but I know whenever there's longevity, something is being done right. Something is being done correctly. And so once again, as Maya Angelou said, you don't know where you're going unless you know where you come from. And so definitely got to give shout out to Dr. Silas Craft, his wife, and the whole Black community of historic trailblazers who were with him organizing so that we can have the quality of life that we have today.
And shout out to you guys who are propelling and being the pistons for the program.
Thank you.
And continuing to keep the feet moving one foot after another.
Sure.
It makes a huge difference, and I can only imagine where we're going to go and continue to grow to higher heights. We're about to close out, and it's been a great episode. I wanted to know if you have any messages of hope, strength that you wanted to share with the listeners, especially Black students who are striving for more excellence and trying to make their own Black history every day.
Well, I'll say this, as we started off the conversation talking about Dr. Carter G. Woodson, there's many quotes and things that he's known for in his writings and in his teachings, but he said there's 2 educations. one education that is given to you and one that you give yourself. And when we look at the landscape in terms of Black history, African American studies, and seeing the controversy and all that's going on with that, I'd say to our students, adults, and whomever, you can take it upon yourself to go to the library and to learn and expose yourself to ideas and information that you choose. So, of course, there are systemic things that might impact what you can engage with. However, we all have agency, and that doesn't have to stop the quest for knowledge. And so, shout out to Dr. Carter G. Woodson for paving the way.
I appreciate that, and thank you for sitting down with us. This has been a very epic episode, and I can't wait for everyone to hear this and just to feel the momentum that's coming from these conversations that we're having, and just seeing Silas Craft around campus. Make sure you guys reach out. Make sure you guys just take this in and continue to understand that Black history exists outside of just a 28-day window.
Sure thing.
And allow that to enrich your thinking. Allow yourself to utilize the resources. I went to the library. I didn't know we had a whole cultural center available for African American history there.
Absolutely.
And I was able to just immerse myself in that to just prepare for this program. So
sure.
It's a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing your insight and your experiences. And thank you for you listeners for tuning into another special episode of Campus Drive. Remember that the journey of Black excellence in education is just a testament to the resilience and strength and the pursuit of knowledge. Stay inspired and keep driving forward. I'm your host, Matt Jackson, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening to Dragon Podcast. You can find this episode and all other Howard Community College podcasts available for your listening pleasure on all streaming platforms, as well as Podbean at podbean.com/Dragon Podcast. Thank you for listening.